Last minute weed.
Nobody saw anything.
No one saw it. So Mary, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It is great to see you.
And you too.
So I think it's fair to say that we've known each other quite a while now. I think, and I was going through the archive last night, good old Google Photos, it could be 10 years or more.
Oh my goodness.
Which is quite scary.
Unbelievable.
So for anybody watching before you were gardening with Mary, what brought you into that? Where was your sort of natural flow, or is it something you naturally gravitated into, or is it something that you just wanted to do from the get-go?
It's quite unusual because where I grew up, I had a concrete front street and a concrete backyard. So I never grew up really, some people that have a garden that then the next generation sort of naturally fall into it. So I never really had that, but my grandmother lived in the countryside. So I always seemed to have a pull towards nature and to greenery. So I would not say naturally gardening per se, but to get out into the garden to see, eat normally was my thing to do. So it would be plum trees or apple trees, or there was a neighbour of Granny's who grew strawberries and peas. So that connection was there from a very young age. But it was only whenever I got married, which would be 25 years ago, that I moved to the countryside to where Paul lives. And then that's when I had my first garden. That's whenever I had it, and I hadn't a clue, not a notion. But Paul's parents were really big into their gardening, so I sort of couldn't figure out why would you be sitting watching Gardener's World on a Friday evening. It was like, yawn fest, and now I'm like, quiet everybody, let me watch it. So it's, I have become obsessed by it. And I think whenever I first moved up, I would have bought a lot of books, gardening books, and I remember flicking through the pages going, oh, I have got that in the garden, and I've got that in the garden, and I didn't realise it was Alan Titchmarsh pointing out all the weeds that you can have. So I had about 10 pages of weeds, and I was sitting going, I have that. So
proud of yourself.
Yeah, I was so proud of myself. Yeah. But it started very small, and it has grown to the herbs and growing vegetables and having my fruit and having a greenhouse and things like that. That's where my passion is. I'm starting to get into flowers and shrubs and stuff now. Unlike you, well, that's your passion. I'm starting to get more interested in things like that.
No, because it's funny you say that, because obviously when you done your work placement, we both done our placements in a garden centre, and that's initially how we met. And for me, the initial love was plants.
Yeah.
And I feel, unlike yourself, I'm nearly on the reverse side, where I'm coming into veg now, where I know you're so passionate about veg. But I suppose maybe for people that don't know you, because obviously I knew you, were vegetarian when I met you, and since then, like, you've moved in, or sort of you're now vegan.
Yeah.
Would you say that has a big push on why you like to grow fruit and veg?
It does. I'm sort of into the ethics of veganism, and I don't want to sort of, because people sometimes go, oh. It's just seeing how easy it is actually to grow some things. And again, as I say, I love to eat. So if I can grow something in the garden that I can actually eat, or I can use, as I say, the herbs and things. And for people that are only starting out, see, growing herbs, they're one of the easiest possible things that you could do. One of the things that I sometimes say to people as well is, don't be afraid to, if you're designing a bed or you're passionate about your flowers, add some of your vegetables into your borders now, and your rainbow chard and things that absolutely look stunning, or putting your chives in with the beautiful purple flowers. All those kind of things can be integrated into your beds, your flower beds, and they won't look out of place. And it's just having a go. And sometimes I also say, if you're afraid and only starting out, start off small and do your containers and do small things. Even loads of vegetables will grow in containers as well. There's dwarf varieties. So, start off small, and then as your confidence grows, then you can start tackling big projects.
Amazing. What would you say is what is the one veg or fruit that you would not live without, that every year you have to grow? It's just your one go-to.
The one go-to that I love to do, and this year was the first time I've actually grown from seed, was the tomatoes.
Okay.
The one that I love doing is a tumbler tomato. It's a wee small bush variety, and it will grow quite happily outside on a sunny spot. So you don't have to worry about, have I to nip out bits, of what bits do I take out, and have I to tie it up, and you don't have to worry about any of that. You basically plonk it into a wee pot and it'll just form into a lovely wee bush, and you can put it into a hanging basket as well if you don't have a lot of room, and that's why I think it's fantastic. Stick it into a pot and you've all these beautiful wee cherry tomatoes, and when you're eating them fresh and they're warm, oh,
yeah,
beautiful.
that's the best. I know, because funny you say that. I don't. I think I know the variety of tomato you're talking about, and I grow. Well, this year I've delved into loads like yellow pear.
Yes.
And tomato berry.
Yes.
Which is a new one for me. But I have found, yes, you're right. It's nipping those side shoots out. It's, you miss a couple of days and straight away they're on you.
Yeah, and then you lose it.
Exactly, and then suddenly the plant. It's like you've nearly lost control of where the original leader was. So yeah, I'm seeing all your updates on your socials, and like I'm aware that you're such a busy woman. So like, for example, last year you're at Balmoral, so that looked fantastic.
Yeah.
You're in Garden Corner,
Yes.
which is amazing. And then on top of all of that, you're out with the community, you're in the schools, and you're just getting really involved with young kids, and they're growing fruit and veg as well. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I think it probably started, it was whenever my children were at primary school, and one of the teachers approached me and said, would I be interested in doing some gardening activities with the school. Now it's about 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I had never done anything like that before, but I was so sort of just, I wanted to share my enthusiasm and love for gardening, and especially getting children involved. I've always said that I find that if they grow it, they're more likely to eat it, or at least try it.
Yes.
And it sometimes can help then with children with sort of sensory problems or difficulties, that they will actually try foods and things that they have never ever put into their mouths before. And I've actually seen it happen, and the teachers that I was working with in one of the schools couldn't believe it, because the child only ate something like super noodles. Like they never actually would eat anything else because of the sensory thing. So whenever you're working with children, you're trying to incorporate things that grow really easily, really quickly. So you've got your radishes, your beetroots, your salad leaves, things like dwarf French beans, all those kind of things which are really easy to grow. They're pretty foolproof. And I say the children will try them. Strawberries is another great one to do as well with children. So I love doing that work. And then with the community groups as well, I've been working with a lot of community groups. And again, it's just passing that enthusiasm that I have, and trying to get people that have never gardened in their lives before, who are now, whenever they come back to maybe the second year of classes with me, and I hear them telling the other people who have only started the class, and they're giving them pointers and tips, I'm going, yes! It's just lovely to see, and passing on that love of gardening.
But it's very rewarding, and as you say, people would say never work with small kids and pets, but it's taken off really well for you. Like you're I'm seeing your updates all the time, and you're so busy. But no, like that is fantastic, and as you say, you're planting that seed hypothetically from such a young age. But if it makes them aware of where food comes from, well then hopefully that continues through.
Yeah, and I think we have messed up a lot of things with nature and the whole environment, and I think if we try to get back to this generation, the next generation, the children, they're the ones that are going to maybe sort of rectify what we have messed up, and making that connection with nature. And a lot of the things that I do with my groups always involves wildlife and the bees and the pollinators, and how you actually encourage them into the garden, and taking time out and watching what's going on, and planting things that will bring the pollinators in. We have to do something, we have to. So all those kind of things, they all go hand in hand, and I think by doing that work with the children, you're hopefully going to make a better future then. They're going to make a change.
No, that's amazing, and I have such admiration for everything you're doing, and that just really brings me on to my next point then. So what is next for Gardening with Mary? Do you have any big plans coming up, or maybe you're not allowed to tell me?
No, there's absolutely, the way I look at it is, with me getting onto Gardener's Corner is just mind blowing to me. I still nip myself, and when they call me the expert, and I'm like, me? No, because it's just something, I love talking. And just being able to, make that connection with people and try and pass on that love. And doing Gardener's Corner, and even you're saying about Balmoral, like I did a couple of sort of exhibition type things, I suppose, or talks. And then on the way in, being contacted by UTV and asked would I do a recording for the TV, and my brain and mouth work at different speeds. Sometimes I go, yeah, and then I go, what?
Yeah.
But it's just, I've found in the last year or so, I have said yes to everything. Every opportunity that has been put my way, I have said, yeah. And then I panic afterwards.
Yeah.
Panic afterwards. But it's just, we only get one go at this.
Of course, yeah.
So if you get the opportunity, take it. And I'm really sticking by that at the minute. I just seem to be taking whatever's coming work-wise. If they say they want me to do it, yeah, sure, I'll have a go at it.
Brilliant.
I mightn't be able to do it, but I'll have a go.
Yeah, you'll try it out when we get
Try
there.
it out.
And very quickly before we go, obviously if viewers have not picked up on this already, this is pre-recorded. So I am hoping to put this out for Easter, and Easter is very early this year for 2024. So if anybody's watching and they have just got that itch now to go and plant something, what would you say is a good vegetable or fruit or just garden plant that they could go and buy and plant now?
Hold on, patience.
Patience.
I always say never start anything too early, really, because there's an awful lot of work involved. Because we get such late frost, right up to about the second week of May, then if you decide you're going to plant things out too early, the frost comes, a late frost, and wipes everything out, and then you go, well, I'm not going to bother with it anymore, and you lose passion in it. If you want to start planning, definitely start planning and get some ideas. And to say, the easiest veg for me to think of would be even to do some potatoes.
Okay. Yes.
And I would do potatoes in the compost bags, the black compost bags. I grow them in that, so I don't need anything fancy. And I just keep rolling up the sides as the potatoes grow. Spuds and tubs, absolutely. Your potatoes, your beetroot, things like your scallions or spring onions, even onions. All those things are all pretty easy to grow. But don't start too early. Just hold off a wee bit until temperatures start to rise a wee bit. And what they actually say is you're not meant to plant anything into the soil unless you can put your bare bum on the soil and it's not cold.
Well,
that's a way to end it.
World Naked Garden Day is the 1st of May.
Yes.
So.
But then they say if the soil's too cold,
yes.
If you actually touch it and the soil's too cold, then it's too cold to plant anything. So just a bit of patience.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that gardening will teach you, is to have a wee bit of patience. Hold off.
That is brilliant. Look, I have never heard that before, so I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Mary, we will finish up there, but just tell everybody that's watching, where can they find you and what platforms are you on?
Okay, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and it's Garden with Mary, and you'll just find me on there, and I do some videos and things. And say if anybody wants to contact me with regards to work or anything, then you can just send me an email through that.
Brilliant. No, that is great. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Mary, I will put all your details below for anybody interested, and you can find Mary there.
Thank you.